always been a very curious person. Even as a young kid, I was very inquisitive. I've always asked lots of questions around why, how, what. And for me, I wanted a career that was really impactful, which was how I got into, sustainability. It's an area where I wanted to sort of take a deeper dive and try to understand it and really make a dent, right? A contribution in this area of research. Focusing specifically on the effectiveness of sustainability measurements. So one of the key inquiries that I had was, with the proliferation of all of this sustainability tools that are out there in the market, from different industries using different frameworks and tools in the capital markets, in, the engineering industry, there's a proliferation of possibly in a range of hundreds to thousands of these tools, but how effective were they? So my line of inquiry basically dive deep, takes a deeper dive into, are they actually effective? Like, who are the stakeholders that are actually using them? And what are some of the outcomes in terms of how effective these tools are? Sustainability research has expanded in scope. I did mention earlier that I was looking at the effectiveness of some of the sustainability reporting tools, but in this day and age, the United Nations has recently, in 2015, approved something goals 169 targets. So I'm really looking at how, these different goals and targets can be integrated into a lot of these tools, like looking at life cycle analysis, all the way down to, how do you develop cities in such a way whereby it caters for the needs of the elderly population or marginalized communities. So very interesting projects that I'm. My research is multidisciplinary in nature. It combines both engineering and business fields. And I've needed to sort of really take a deep dive into understanding how, the different industries or different sectors actually work. And because I didn't really know a lot of people back then, in terms of network, it became really challenging to collect data or even set up interviews with potential subject matters. So data was definitely a challenge. I would also say communication to a certain extent. And the reason why I say this, Shabana, is because, I work across a multidisciplinary field. So people in the business world may not necessarily understand the jargon that is used in engineering and vice versa. So there was a need to really find a way to, communicate with clarity and communicate in such a way that people actually understand. So when you are actually venturing into new charted territories, there's always going to be new challenges. Like you have to be, very resourceful in finding out, who can you actually approach to potentially collaborate and partner with. If you are looking at a city area, for example, as your laboratory, you also need to get a lot of permission, from certain government authorities who are involved, and that process could be a bit bureaucratic. In many ways. So the tools that we are harmonizing and developing, essentially the main purpose or objective of it is to create tools that are impactful, right? So the way that we measure impact is in terms of outcomes. So if we were developing cities, for example, we will be surveying the elderly population who have been living in a certain area to see if they felt that certain designs in the built environment has actually benefited. There are 17 goals, 169 targets. So I do work across multiple of these goals. I also look at how we can develop low carbon cities in a more efficient and scalable manner. And I think this is absolutely an important area because, as you know, the climate crisis is the defining issue of our generation. If we don't act now, if we don't do something about it, then, the world is gonna, be facing a lot of other catastrophic events, floods, droughts, wildfires, which basically has a direct impact on people's initiate potential collaborations with people that you think might add value to your research. I think when you're starting up, it's very important to have mentors, like people in certain fields that have been there, done that, who has a whole bunch of experience. Don't be afraid to communicate, initiate that starting process of getting to know them, and just to absorb whatever knowledge that they have, because you never know when that might come to be of use to you sometime down the road.